Within the development of video games, there are many concepts that get created and left behind. As we saw last time, some of these concepts remained hidden away into the very fabric of the game's data, or even into the very instruction manual that it came with. While the instruction manual definitely gave us a hint last time, there was one other sheet of paper that came with everyone's copy of Pokemon Red and Blue, and it was this little flyer for a free player's guide offer inside. But what is so important about this flyer? Well, other than it containing Red and Blue here, we have one other trainer here that stands toe-to-toe on an equal plane to these two. A trainer we never saw in the game, but yet is here in this very official and released artwork of the game. I always found this odd as a kid and wondered why I never found her in the game. So today, we explore who was the third female rival trainer or player character and why she might have been removed. The artwork, while it appeared to us as a flyer, was actually the cover for the Japanese Pokemon strategy guide, so this was a confusing factor for both Eastern and Western fans as to who she was. The first thing one notices is that the female trainer here stands on the same level as Red and Blue here, and even has the third of the original starters. This shows that it wasn't some random trainer they threw onto here either. Before we dive into conjecture, who exactly was she? Well, luckily for us, Ken Sugimori, the artist of Pokemon and of this very art here, has answered on Twitter actually. The translation goes, "This is the character I made for this cover, thinking that it would be like this if I had 3 bodies to match the 3 starter Pokemon I got." So as seen here, Ken Sugimori had created this character as another rival between Red and Blue, known best as Green, or Leaf to some of you, let Bulbapedia decide that. For the purpose of this video, of course, I will be calling her Green, by the way. And this is the key word. Ken Sugimori made Green. By this logic, it would seem that the actual director or writer of this game didn't come up with the character. So it can be said that Sugimori literally made this without the story ever being conceived around her, and to simply fill in the third untouched Pokemon to also have a trainer. While the whole game of Pokemon Generation 1 has been data mined to death, there oddly enough is not a single trace or reference to her, so there is some credit to this theory actually, as a ton of cut content normally leaves some sort of trace left over in the data. Even Pokemon that have been cut out still have their old slots available, but filled in with missing no's, of course. That'll be for maybe another video, of course. However, could Ken Sugimori actually go that off rails without permission like that? Considering while Green didn't appear in the game, the art was still released to the public and shortly after released in a comic series called Pokemon Craft DX, even though she wasn't in the game and gained wild popularity when she appeared in the Pokemon Adventure manga. The last part being very important, as Satoshi Tajiri, the creator of Pokemon, has commented that this comic, Pokemon Adventure, that most resembles the world I was trying to convey. If that statement is to be held true, this would mean that Tajiri was interested in the idea of a third trainer to be going on an adventure alongside Red and Blue, with how integral Green was to the main plot of this manga. So then, if there is no trace of her in the game, and yet seems to be an idea Tajiri had and Sugimori actually took the initiative to draw that idea, why isn't she actually in the game in any shape or form? Well, for that, we have to look at this artwork. This is completed and literally the only piece of known art of Green for this generation made by Ken Sugimori. Now let's look at some of the old pieces of artwork that includes that old artwork of Blaine from the last episode that I showed. Notice how all of them are not colored, look rather rough around the edges, and never had a final version made to them since they did not appear in the final game. Yet Green has that final colored and clean artwork but didn't appear in the game either. As these older pieces of artwork seem to depict different stages of development with fully colored art seemingly depicting the final stage of development, my theory is that Green was a very late idea conceived to make this duo a trio. And as such, the idea of including her would require changing up the game mechanics and story if her role was to be as expansive as it was in the Pokemon Adventure manga. Also, one major problem Generation 1 ran into was space, as it filled up the Game Boy cart to the point where they had to remove the debug menu in order to even fit Mew into the game. Therefore, adding a front and back sprite, overworld sprite, expanding the story to include her into the overall narrative, and to top it off, if she was indeed a playable character variant to Red, as she was a major influence to the creation of the female protagonists of Fire Red and Leaf Green according to Sugimori, would require a decent amount of space left over on the cart to do all that. Again, top that off with the idea that this likely appears to have been thought up very late in development, when all this was already built and they had hit the release window deadline and couldn't go back and change things up for this one character. As amazing as the concept was, she was left on the cutting room floor, never to be played in the original games. Until recently, not officially of course, though what we have, however, are ROM hacks made which does replace Red with Green as the playable character, and she looks fantastic. The sprite looks like it's based directly off her post from the Pokemon Adventure manga too. While it is a simple cosmetic change, it is still an option for anyone interested to search and play this version, of course. However, even though she wasn't ever legitimately available to play, her legacy lived on through numerous Pokemon mangas, the remake of Generation 1, and of course, a near-perfect recreation of her artwork in the new Let's Go games, where you can actually face off against her. It's unfortunate that she was cut from the game, but you know what else shouldn't be cut? Our relationship. So hit that subscribe button to continue this ongoing relationship with this cut content series. And hit that like button if you liked this video, and hit the dislike if you did not, and comment below. And until next time everyone, thank you for watching.